Somebody's got to play the race car.
Appreciate it.
That's our PR director. Jesus. Oh. All right, you can start the camera now.
I think we're done.
In the holiday spirit, can you update us on the COVID list if anyone's been added today?
No one's been added today. Now, have you got Ed and Durden?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, that was just, okay.
Osa is back in the building today.
Thank you.
Just those, not Tristan.
No, not Tristan.
They asked me if it was added. Is there anything else? Yeah.
Will Osa be able to do everything?
Yeah, today I think so. We're going to be smart with him. Just got to see where he is.
How will y'all go about shuffling the responsibilities for the defensive line room?
Well, two things. He may have a chance to test back in by the end of the week, but we're working through that. Dan and I met on that this morning. It's in progress right now, but we're in virtual. So, AD actually held the meetings, the position meetings this morning. But it's more about the rotation on Sunday. So we'll work that out amongst the staff.
Where's Leon at? Is Leon let do anything?
Leon's back, so he's been he's been up in the press box the last 2 games. So there's definitely a possibility of him coming down on the field.
Mike, can you update us on the Blake Jarwin status?
Yes, Blake. We're hoping that he may be able to start to do some on-field work maybe next week or the week after. Is the thought.
You watched the game last night. How much can you glean from that game since there's so many guys out and guys can test back in?
Yeah. Definitely. I think as everybody watched the game, we had it on while we were going through our game plan meetings, so we got a chance to watch the second half exclusively. But after Washington did a really nice job starting the game, just the way they come out and got the lead there with the 2 takeaways. Really the most important game for us is the one we played in against them 10 days ago. So that's a lot of our cut-ups and a lot of our game planning was done off of what we did prior to our first contest. We obviously probably we didn't use everything, which is normal. In the first game, we went a little heavier with the volume going into that game. So that was all part of playing them twice in 3 weeks. But I think anytime you have a chance to watch a live tape on anybody, especially from a matchup, the technical part of it, so that's definitely useful.
Tyron Smith just be working off to the side today, or what's
Who's
his?
that?
Tyron Smith will
Tyron?
just be working off the side.
Tyron will be in the rehab group today, yes. Getting better. Much better than he was last week.
At first blush, what did you think of Garrett Cooper and his performance?
I thought he did a nice job. I mean, it was good to see him get an opportunity. It's Lake Travis proud, so I was happy for him on a personal note. But you got to give him a ton of credit to do what he did in 3 days. So, but I thought he had a really good start.
You've always been good at December football, even in your previous place of employment. Did that start when you first got in the league at Kansas City, just learning about how important that is?
I think, fortunate to be, part of Marty Schottenheimer's staff, and it was an established program, when before I even arrived there. So, it was a, perennial playoff team, and, a lot of those thoughts and regiments, did come from here. A lot of things that we do structurally and the process component of preparing for a game I still use from my time with Marty. But, the 90s was a different era. It was an older team. So I think, you come out of training camp, but I think you always felt the importance. You didn't play as many division games that late, but the importance of really when the fundamental part of your football team really has to be heightened, and, execution's everything. We talk about that a lot more than ever, just because, you should be in a very good routine and a process through your program, your game planning, the things you get ready weekly. So, the ability to beat the guy across from you consistently in this time of year has to be heightened, because you're not going to get to where you want to go if it doesn't flow through your whole football team. But yeah, it's definitely established, in that time.
You talk a little bit more about how you talked before about shaving some time off in December. Just in general, how much do you shave off and where, and how do you still keep a structure but respond to where the team physically, as far as keeping routine yet still addressing where they are?
If you took our schedule from week 1 to this week, it'd be 90 minutes shorter and it's a combination of on the field meetings. And I just think, like anything, your efficiencies is higher. You have to. Frankly, you just got to practice what you preach. Physical, mental, and emotional stress is additive. So, being in tune with that, and the stress that the players go through later in the year is higher. You got to recognize the holiday season and handling success. We're having success as a football team. We have individuals that are having success probably higher than they may have had in the past. So you have to handle those things, and it just, it's not just a PowerPoint presentation. So I think the ability to make it flow as part of your workday, I think it's real important.
You didn't start getting ready for December. How much did your preparation in training camp in September and October, while you're trying to win a game, preparing and taking care of your team to get them ready to play their best in December?
I think it's just through experience. I was a young head coach once that overtrained a football team. I clearly remember, in 06, I think it was we were playing a preseason game in Cincinnati, and we had some stretch there where I think we went 7 straight days. We were on a 2-1-2-1 process back then at training camp, and guys couldn't even get through the second quarter. And that was our third preseason game, so it was our big game. And so I know what overtraining looks like. I've overdone it. So I think you just learn through experience.
Was it difficult to do initially, because it's a little counterintuitive, because you want to go, well, you push it even more here in December, it means more, you got to be. Did you have to wrestle with that at all? Or did you just see physically it just doesn't make sense?
I'll be honest with you. I think it's really the commitment to humility in your personal and professional life, because when you study humility, counterintuition is a key filter to utilize your thought process and your actions of how you do everything. And counterintuition, I think, it makes you check the way you did things as a young man, and not everything is absolute. But I think you can also overreact to counterintuition, and you think everything you've ever done is screwed up, and because that kind of goes on right now in a lot of ways. So I think holding on to the things that you truly know work from the past, I think those are fundamental things of your foundation that you stick to. I think you have to have that. You have to believe in something as a base, but I think you have to use counterintuition all the time, and it's something I rely on a lot.
When did you start studying humility and counterintuition?
2007.
2007.
What spurred you to start studying it then?
I read a book by a gentleman by the name of John Dixon, Humilitas, and John was a frequent speaker for us in Green Bay at Chapel. He's from Australia, and he would come to he'd come through, Green Bay once a year and would speak, to the team, or, it was Chapel, and just grabbed a hold of me. So it definitely adjusts the way I looked at things.
When you guys went through virtual last year, was obviously brand new.
Too much coffee today, I apologize.
How in the offseason did you work with your coaches or structure work for them so that they could get better in the virtual component of instruction?
Well, we needed it, because we definitely didn't hit the target last year. So actually, I thought Dan Quinn, brought some really good ideas. Some of the things he did in Atlanta, and I think just talking to other people in the league, and frankly, I think we learned as we went through it last year, because it kind of jumped on us with the pandemic. And then we had the draft. So there was a lot of opportunities to learn just from the technical and the IT component of it. So, I think the benefit of having young coaches that are really good in that area, that are talented. So just making we're teachers. It's really just making the teaching environment better. And frankly, there's more things that I think we can continue to learn from the virtual that can make us better, moving forward. So I think it's a big part of our society. And, I think we're like going to virtual this week. It's self-imposed. We don't have to do this. So, we're doing it because I think, we're trying to get in front of it. I think our players have done a really good job testing, both family and friends. You can just see by the numbers, our guys have really picked it up. So My view is if we can take this week and just really increase the safety and get their home space in a better situation, I'm hopefully we can stay in front of this challenge of COVID. So that's why we went to the virtual, but it's really the confidence that I have in the teaching part of it. The team meetings are not very good, because you can't connect like we connect right now. So I just think and even Dan and Kellen. It's a little different when you have the whole offense, but the individual meetings are excellent. I mean, if because you have a second bounce through those, I think our guys do a really, really good job. And you still have the interaction, so I don't think we lose anything in the individual meetings.
Where did the idea to call on the North Texas professors to come in and kind of help you guys out?
Just through conversation. I think it was, once again, I think. You got great resources here, locally. So, I mean, you can't be blind or ignorant to that. So, I just think that it was a focus. I mean, it was clearly one of the, top things on our to-do list in the off season. We needed to be better.
When did you guys do that?
Oh, shoot, it was right away. I think it was like February. Yeah, February, March.
Can you provide a comparison of what a subpar virtual meeting from a presentation and engagement looks like?
So now we're going to analyze our virtual meetings?
Well, no, I'm just trying to get a sense of then and now in terms of how engagement has changed in presentation.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this: the WebEx is better. They've improved. They've improved with the needs of, what we need as far as the interfacing the DV Sport was night and day compared to how we do it now to then. So I mean, the whole process is better. So I think the ability to utilize the same cut-ups because it's about interaction and still be able to have the PowerPoint and the video work in conjunction. That's much better. These guys learn different than we did 20 years ago. I mean, these guys they see more, they capture more in a short period of time. So their stimulus is just because the way they've grown up and they capture more quickly. But their meeting your meetings got to be shorter. So I think that's common in the teaching industry, and so how do you utilize that in a 30-minute meetings as opposed to a 45-minute meeting? So all those things.
Mike, do you have to kind of keep a watchful eye this week because obviously you plan on the 26th. These guys have families, wives, girlfriends. Guys got to shop the day before Christmas.
Absolutely. Do they still shop? Yeah. So
Go ahead.
I just saw JJ in here pushing the cart down the hall. There's a lot of he's got a lot more boxes this week. That's for sure.
But is that something you've talked to them about to kind of make sure you still?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the schedule fits that too. So I think, the fact that we can get our work done, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, still be done by 1 o'clock, 1:15. Some people, Christmas Eve is a big night too. So I think it's important for guys to still be able to get out of here relatively early. We're not going to do the stay program because of the social distancing. So, so they'll be gone probably an hour earlier than they normally are. And then on Christmas, I think it's important for everybody to be home in the morning. So we're just going to come in late afternoon and have a practice. And then the fact that we play on Sunday night, we moved all our meetings to Sunday morning. So everybody will be home for Christmas. They'll come here at 3 o'clock and they'll be home by 5. So everybody will be home for dinner. So I think that's a good. I think it's a great Christmas Day schedule. A lot different than the 90s, don't you think?
When we talked with Dan about that third down play where Micah drops back on Kenny Galladay, he was saying that one thing he likes about Micah is how if he makes a mistake, he never makes that same mistake again. How did y'all go about assessing his football IQ in the pre-draft process, and were there any conversations that stand out?
I think like anything, I mean, you have a college evaluation, and I think really, we're fortunate, I think like any coaching staff, when your personnel department, when it comes down to it, or you're getting what you think you're getting, and that's definitely the case. So I just think our guys did a great job throughout the evaluation process, and he's definitely, has been everything and more than what they said about him during the draft process. So, I think that in his particular case, because he didn't play, the year before, so that was a bit of an unknown. But I mean, that's what spring's for, and you can see how guys pick it up. But things come very natural to him.
You talked earlier about getting ahead of this, and the protocol here is even beyond what the league's doing right now. I don't know if you know the exact numbers, but you've emphasized boosters. Or you said Jim talked to the team last week. Do you know that players and coaches have been able to get, a number of players been able to do that in the last week to 10 days?
Yes, I mean, it's been available. We had a video from the league, 4-minute video we showed in the team meeting today. So, yeah, we'll always continue to educate our players and coaches on what's available.
Mike, the pandemic and the virtual meetings, I don't know if it takes anything away, but how much fun is this time of year, having these kind of games with so much on the line, and is this what you kind of missed the year that you were out?
Yeah, this is what it's all about. I mean, you want to be always, you always want to be playing for something. I think that, you learn over the years that, what it takes from a commitment, and, and it takes a lot out of you, and that's the joy of it all, to be competing in December. I like the way this thing lays up. We're fighting for a division title, Sunday night. What else can you ask for? So, and then just like this league does every time this time of year, then you wake up Monday morning and, things will shift around. That's the way it goes. That's the way it always goes. So, yeah, definitely. And I think clearly being out a year, you definitely appreciate, these opportunities so much more, and you just, thankful. And but yeah, this is what it's all about.
Pro Bowl team will be announced. How many Pro Bowlers do you think you have?
I don't know. Great question. Not a great day for the head coach because there's always someone that's deserving that doesn't get it. So I think just like anything, you just got to keep it in perspective, and so I would think that we would be well represented.
How do you handle that in terms of your presentation with the team? Do you get a chance to tell?
Well, it's different now, just the way it's flown. I mean, you got some coming out on Monday, Tuesday, so and will we get it this afternoon, or yeah. So they'll be gone. So you normally try to get in front of it and have a personal conversation with the individuals, and frankly have a conversation with the guys that you felt that deserved it.
The two young defensive players, Parsons and Diggs. Just briefly describe the seasons they're having thus far, because we assume they'll be on the football.
They're having Pro Bowl seasons. I mean, I think their numbers reflect that, and I think they've definitely been very impactful. And if I was coaching against them, I mean, they definitely would be on my profile tape and would have a target on them, on a weekly. And I think that represent the type of players that they both are.
When you say that about a target on players, are you talking about just like individual defensive guys you look at, you're like, we cannot let this player wreck the game?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just identify their skills, and and it's all about matchups. So I mean, it's every week you go through your opponent and based on how guys are playing or how you think they're going to play, or where they're playing particularly. Obviously their physical skill set is part of that. But yeah, you definitely have matchup keys that you're always focused on.
On tape, did you see that the Giants paid particular attention to Micah?
I think everybody's been paying particular attention to Micah. Yeah.
Even though last year didn't unfold the way certainly you or a lot of people envisioned, the way the team responded in December, and do you think some of the seeds of what has happened this year were planted in December? Just in general, the team responding there to show you what did that show you?
I really do, and I think it reminds me a lot of 06 to 07. We were the 06 team was 1-4 and then 4-8, and we really struggled there from weeks. I think we were 1-4, then 4-4, then 4-8. So we were really struggling there, and then won the last 4. And that's something that throughout but we had normal off-season program and all that then too. So I mean, it was something that we really emphasized, and you could see something there at the end of the year. And I felt the same way last year, because I mean, God, it just never felt. It just never felt. I hate to put the word normal, because it wasn't normal for anybody. I mean, everybody had to go through last year, so we just were never quite there. Because I when I put together a staff, I went with a number of new members on the staff. I didn't go with all the guys I'd worked with in the past, and there was always like, hey, what do you think? You think we're getting ready? We're ready. And I'm like, yeah, we're ready. But I didn't believe it. It wasn't what I was accustomed to. And so, but I felt that at the end, particularly just for as simple as taking care of the ball and taking it away, because, I felt that, that's such an important part of success. We all work on it. It's important for every football team that's ever played the game. I get it, but I'm a big believer in ROI. You get what you emphasize, and I felt that that last stretch, we were playing some good football.
Mike, going back to your philosophies on counterintuition and humility, can you give us an example of a way that those philosophies have impacted the way you coach or the way you're currently running this team?
Oh, I think it's I think some of it is generational. I think you can talk to individuals different 15 years ago than you do today. I think society reflects that, and I'm not saying. I just think that's that's just a part of what generation you come up in too. So, right or wrong or indifferent. So I think it just makes you take a look at everything, from the other side of the fence. Where I think part of being successful, I mean, you have to truly believe in how you coach, in how you run the football or how you put together a run game plan. You have to have strong, hard-headed beliefs, but the being hard-headed and believing in what you do, you're damn close to the line of being ignorant. So, and I think you have to be in tune where that line is. But more importantly, you got to have the discipline to walk on the other side of that line and take a look at it from the other side. And I think, the influx of college football schemes in today's game, the last 10 years is probably a good example, where 1993 is a great coach. I have tremendous respect for Jimmy Ray. He's been in the league for 100 years. I learned so much football from him, as a young coach. And he told me back in '93, he says, this league's about cycles. And he says the key to this is you'll see the 3-4 come in, you'll see it go back out, you'll see the Bear defense, and then so. All these things that are going on today, trust me, someone's already ran them 10, 15, 20 years ago. It's just a different variation of it. So he said, but the key is to stay on the front end of that. You don't have to be the first guy, but you can't be the 32nd guy. So, and I've never forgotten that because now that I've been in the league, almost 30 years, it's held true. So it's those type of things. I think that's where counterintuition really helps you.
Have you seen DeMarcus respond and embrace to being moved inside at times, situationally, to the 3-4 type technique?
Oh, he loves it. I mean, it's all about matchups. I mean, it fits his style of play. He's so violent. I mean, he's so aggressive. He has tremendous length. I think he cherishes the opportunity to potentially now with the people around him too, to get a one-on-one matchup. I think he loves it.
Has that been a big difference with DeMarcus? Just the teams can't.
I thought that was a good final answer, didn't you? Yeah. I mean, well, you're done. You're already texting, so I figured. I just want. Yeah, that's my exit guy right there. I just say, hey.
I'm good.
You good?
Yeah.
I gotta bring these for the picture.
Dave's going. Yeah.
And turnover differential now is obviously the deciding factor, probably the most. But when do you think it turned that became kind of the way to win football games? Because you go back to the 81 NFC Championship game, the catch, San Francisco turned it over 6 times. Montana threw 3 interceptions and they won. That doesn't happen today. So when did the emphasis, when did all that change?
Great question. My first year was 1993, and that's all Marty talked about. So that's been my introduction to the NFL. I mean, and if you look at his career, I mean, he was, I think he was plus 100. I mean, his numbers were incredible throughout his career, but that was one of his main, objectives each and every day, not every week. So, but I couldn't tell you. I don't know the exact answer to that, but that's when I embraced it. So, all right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.